Ponderings from
Welcome,
the chapel.
welcome. Praise the Lord. Got you back this week. However, I might say that the stand-in last week, Bishop Ken Clark, was
pretty
very
special.
good.
I know,
very good.
pretty special.
He's a good friend and has a great sense of humor, doesn't he? But he's a huge man of God. Whoa. And Helen, and the work they've done in Ireland and South America, and Sam's, quite an inspiration.
It was lovely to spend 5 days with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know, that whole idea of giving them a bigger picture of what might be, and not that they could do that in their own particular places and all that, but you know, if you're never going to do, you're never going to be able to catch a vision that you can't even relate to, and coming here, you know, you can see some different kinds of things, and your eyes are opened. And well, you know, maybe I can pull that away. And what we're doing, that won't translate, but the principles behind what we're doing, that will translate, regardless of the size of or location of where your ministry is. And I think that worked for the people. They got that idea. Glad to have them in our leadership courses and spend hours with them. Well, outside of that was great. And may I say our team of lay leaders and staff and all that were just excellent in the way they received them and ministered to them and patiently dealt with their needs and with a high degree of excellence. That was very heartwarming. Not that I expected less, but it was, and I think to some degree could have been a bit surprising to some of them too. So glad to have them. They were here, when were they last year?
2 or 3 years
Now
ago.
the same clergy were not here, but Ken brings the groups over like that.
I think it was 2023.
So maybe in another 3 years or so, we'll do something like that again. Mm-hmm. And this time we had another bishop he's still, once you're a bishop, you're always a bishop. But he's a parish priest now, but bishop in the Ark.
That was fascinating to hear.
Whoa. Mm-hmm. Tough sledding. In a real sense, tough sledding.
It was really so beautiful to see. You know, sometimes when this is our norm, right? And sometimes we can get so far down in the weeds of the day-to-day and all the things that you lose sight of the real beauty of what's happening here. So as we're introducing them to these different ministries and they're going to different communities and ministry areas and things, to see their excitement in hearing all that's happening, it's contagious, and you're like, oh my gosh, yes. Wow. Because
we kind of,
because that's our norm.
After a while, we can get ho-hum about it.
Well, and not just that, but it's just, that's our norm.
Yep.
We do the food bank every Monday,
Yep.
right? And sometimes we can just get in that, food banks every Monday, and we get into the routine of seeing the slide on the wall, but you really forget some of the really beautiful parts of that.
Like, how amazing is it to give away almost 3 tons of food every week?
Right.
That's a lot of food. Yeah. That's a lot of food. But we hear the numbers, and it just... Doesn't everybody do that? No.
Right. And I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
So that was just such a tremendous blessing. Mm-hmm. Well, they were a blessing. They ministered to me in a lot of different ways that was surprising to me. But just to see our ministries through their eyes was a gift.
That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, was the gift.
Yeah, that's the point.
And it energizes you.
And them.
And them.
And
right.
them. And them. And we had our first funeral to use the columbarium here at the chapel this past week.
It was a lovely service on Saturday for
Sue
Pearson. And had an interment of ashes, and that was beautiful. Beautiful service.
Yep. Kind of brisk, windy day.
A little windy.
But no rain, no rain. Full house. And, Dave did a great job with the service. And
Elizabeth with the organizing.
Elizabeth, oh, God. She's amazing. She's amazing. And Charlie with all the technology. And there's a lot of people on the team to make something like that flow.
Oh, for sure.
To make it flow.
For sure.
And in such a way that that the family is able to move through a difficult situation with a greater degree of ease than they might otherwise. We're not adding to the confusion, and it's an important step in their grieving process, and we facilitate that. And hard as it is, we don't get in the way. Hopefully, we ease their way through it. So, beautiful setting out there, really is. So that was a big step, and I really think we're going to have, as the years go by, and the congregation we have in here, across the way, across schools, that's growing and growing and growing. I think we'll have more and more of those services. And during the school year, we have to have them on Saturday morning. There's just too much activity. But I think in the summertime, depending on what's going on with summer programs and all that, we might be able to have one or two during the week. But Saturday's a good time for it over here. You don't have to worry about what's going on with school calendars. And it works for people, family and friends who are busy and have jobs and all the rest of that. It works well for them too. So it was very well done. My hats off to Dave and Elizabeth and the team that pulled all that off. Yeah. All right, so what's coming up now? What's on your extensive? Whoa, look at this little, it's a new little cross you got on there, don't you?
The Daughters of the
Tell
Holy
me about
Cross,
that.
service here at the chapel, which was great because we had the ability to stream.
So it's online for people to look at now.
So we had 11 women went through the discernment process, and that started, conversations about that started in July of last year. And 11 went through, and we learned from the Provincial Council that's the largest group of any parish to have 11 go through at one time. And I'm pretty sure we're the largest chapter. Yeah. The Esther chapter is the largest chapter.
Why'd you want to do that? I mean, you're so involved in so many different things, and what was it drew you to that?
I've thought about it for a few years now, and it never kind of felt like the right time. And then this year, just really looking at prayer, service, evangelism, being in the Word, and just really think, wow, those are all the things I love to do.
Yeah. But you were already doing those things.
I was already doing them.
So why?
But now to be a part of a group where you're intentionally, that's your focus every time you gather, every time you meet. And it's just been a really sweet process going through that with the other 10 ladies. And we're pulled from all different campuses, all different services and areas. But it's just been a really sweet time together. Some of us are meeting in Bible study together on Thursday evenings. So it's been a really sweet time to be with other women that's their focus.
Yeah.
And we're making that commitment together.
That's wonderful. And now you meet the group, Daughters of the Holy Cross meets.
We meet once a month as a whole chapter.
And that's Sunday afternoons or something
and
like
it's
that?
Sunday afternoons.
Now, when will there be another class coming through?
Typically, it's in the fall. So
it's like
you'll
one
start
class a
hearing
year.
You'll start hearing kind of, if you're interested in learning more or that type of thing, usually about the summer. And it starts.
Well, I hope
in the
we'll have
fall.
more ladies that are interested in that. That intentionality is what it's about, I think.
And Father John's
what
our
about
chaplain.
The cross?
And the cross is specifically designed and made for the daughters, and it has all of the prayer, service, evangelism, and study written in Latin around the cross.
And that's not
supposed to
just
wear this
that's
every
not
day.
just for us.
No, this is every Daughters of the Holy Cross. So there are
Oh.
chapters all over the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all have that commonality, and you wear the cross all the time. So it's a witness.
It is.
Right.
And that was one of the things that a lot of the daughters shared with us, that it becomes an evangelistic tool because it is unique. It is very different.
Oh, yeah.
And people will say, that's pretty. Where did you get that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to explain what it is.
It is. It's very attractive.
It's planting,
Your mama
planting a
loves hers.
seed.
Wears it all the time. Yeah.
So
I'm
Kim
glad-
Clark is the president of our chapter, and Pat Griffith took the vow to be vice president, and Connie Johnson is the secretary.
And then Father John works with his
And
spiritual
John
advisor.
is our chaplain.
Yeah.
And he helped with the discernment process. So there were different parts of study that we went through, and he went through and explained the creeds to us, and he did an excellent job of that. And we had to come up with a rule of life, and we then talked through it with John and Kim.
Praise God.
Yeah. So that was lovely on Sunday. And then what I'm working on is Quiet Day.
Now that it's coming.
Lenten Quiet Day in February 21st. It's on a Saturday. We did it in Advent.
that's early.
Lent is early this year. Yeah. We did it in Advent, right before Advent in November. And it was just a preparation, preparing our hearts for that Advent season. And now we're doing the same thing for Lent. That was very well received during Advent. So signups are already available. You'll see it in the Loop and the e-news. I'll also be sending out an email this week to the women of the church. Invite your friends too. So just a beautiful time of being still, being quiet. We're going to walk through one of the Psalms together and then break up and have some personal meditation and quiet time. We have a musician joining us this time, Natalie Rogers. She is on staff at St. Helena's in Beaufort, and she's going to come and help us just lead a few songs for us.
Mm-hmm. Is that on the historic campus? Or
It's on the historic campus. And we hope the weather will be nice so that people can spread out on the campus and pray on the lawn. And
Now, we got...
there's a lot happening
is
that
the
week.
second weekend in it?
That's the first week of Advent. We've got Tuesday, pancake dinner. The men will be cooking at the cross schools for our Shrove Tuesday pancake dinner. And we have kept the price of that the same, I think, forever.
Yeah.
It's $5 a person or $10 for a family. Your family could be 10 people and it's $10. That's a deal,
And it's different.
folks.
It's all kind of pancakes, isn't it?
Pancakes, they usually do chocolate chip, blueberry, and plain. Then they have toppings and whipped cream and syrup. Rod Musselman has been
don't they have sausage or
handling
something
that
with
for a
that?
long time. Pretty sure sausage. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's in the school cafeteria.
That's at the school. It's going to be in the gym because usually we have over 200 people and we won't fit in the dining hall.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Yeah.
So that's Shrove
That's Tuesday. Wednesday is Ash Wednesday. So that's February the 18th. That's early. Pretty sure this is about
we
as
have-
early as Lent can get, right?
So we have a noon service.
We have the noon
Historic.
service at Historic. We have a 7 p.m. service here. We will be streaming, but obviously you can't get ashes from streaming. The school will have a separate service in the morning. So
And we're off and running to Lent.
and then it's Lent. So
And
everything
then,
will go to
and then you're
purple.
on Saturday, is
And
that?
then we're on Saturday of that. So
Wow.
we're the first Saturday of Lent is Quiet Day. Yeah.
And when you start into that Lent, Easter's not far away. Palm Sunday, Easter, and doing some special liturgy stuff with Palm Sunday this year. Charlie's working hard on that. That's going to be really special and unique.
When you were growing up, when you were in the Episcopal Church, what were the Palm Sunday traditions in growing up for you?
The only thing I remember about that, we were at a high church. Oh, jeez. Was they would give everybody a long,
No, a palm.
yeah, not a palm frond, not the whole frond, but a long thing of palm, you know, and then
Almost looks like a whip.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then we didn't start outside because this is in downtown Charleston,
Yeah, that'd be hard.
but at some point, you know, you have the opening. Liturgy of the Palms starts that service, so during that preamble to the worship service, everybody's in the pews. They got that, and you would say the things, and then you would wave the palm fronds like that. Everybody would have that, and that's about the only thing I remember of that. I should remember more than that, but
I remember.
But I remember because that was just so unusual,
Right.
You know, and you get to wave it all around, and then put it away. But my dad put it like that. I don't think he ever waved his, but I did, and I know the children and my sisters did. My dad was a little too uptight about that, so everybody else. Don't.
We always had, and I think women in the church made the crosses.
They might
Growing up,
have early
because they were
on.
green.
Yeah, they might have early on.
Well, it was a small crowd too.
Yeah, that's how you. But we've been
Purchased
ordering
them.
them from somewhere in Africa. isn't
We
it?
do. We purchased them from Africa, and so they're kind of the dried palm.
Now, see, those things would have been made when they were green,
Right.
because when our actual palm frond
That's-
on a tree was just so brittle you couldn't. But they would have taken a green palm and stripped it, and then do that little fold thing, and make the cross out of it, and then they'd cure it probably in some kind of out in the bright sun where it's hot and all that, cure it, and then send it. So if we order those things, you're helping mission work down in Africa somewhere. Or you wear your cross, and that's just one of those special traditions that you have. And I don't know if other churches do that, but I expect they do their own different little ways of being involved with the palms.
And isn't it a tradition as well that you burn the palms from Palm Sunday? You burn the palms to get the ashes for Ash Wednesday the next year. Is that right?
The tradition is that after the Palm Sunday service, people turn their palms in,
Okay.
and then those palms are saved, and then the altar guild people burn the palms and smudge them up to get the ashes to use the following year for Ash Wednesday.
That
Now
sounds
that's
like
tradition.
messy business.
That's why it's not. That's why you order the ashes too.
You would have a special group to do that.
Oh yeah, and with the numbers we're working with, that wouldn't really work. And a lot of people like to keep those crosses.
Mm-hmm. I always put mine on my visor in my car.
Yeah,
So it's there all the time.
but those ashes are tricky, and I've been to services before where you had the ashes put on you and they come down on your nose and everywhere like that. But here we mix them with chrism oil, and then you makes a little bit of a kind of a paste. And so when you make the cross on someone's forehead, it's not dripping all over you, but it stays there. It stays there.
All right, when you put on the ash, do you do a big cross or a little cross?
Just right here. I don't come down over your nose and go all out here. No, it's just right here. I don't know whether that's bigger or little. It's just the size I make. Never thought about if it's big or little.
Everybody has a style.
A style. Yeah. I make it. I make the same size cross as I do
when you
baptize somebody.
Okay.
Yeah. You're just saying different words. When you baptize with the chrism, you're saying you're sealed by the Holy Spirit in baptism and marches Christ on forever. And then when you put the ashes on, someone on Ash Wednesday saying, remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. So, yeah. Those words say a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, those traditions mean something. One of the things that we don't do that's an ancient tradition in the church that I don't know whether people would accept it or not, is when you baptize a baby, you put a pinch of salt on their tongues.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Receive the salt of wisdom are the words that go with it. That the wisdom is God's word. Receive the salt of wisdom, so that your words reflect God's words.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
I suspect mothers today would not think that was such a nifty idea. But in the ancient church, that's what it was. And I don't know whether that's still practiced in the Catholic Church or not.
Or Orthodox, maybe?
But I bet it is in the Greek Orthodox Church. I bet they hold on to that. But I don't know. I'm not familiar
Okay,
with
I'll
the
have to
liturgies.
research that. Mm-hmm. All right, how's it coming with your book about Churchill? What's the update on the really big one? Are we still trudging through?
No, I put that on the back burner for a moment.
Okay.
I finished my book on the Rector of Justin, a boys' prep school, Episcopal school, and all that. I finished that up, and then I looked at the Churchill book again and did another page. I said, no, I'm not going to do that right now. And then I switched to the opposite end of the spectrum and started a book that your husband gave me about the Vietnam War and special forces working, what do they call it, across the fence, working behind the scenes in the places where you're not supposed to go, Vietnam, Laos and Cambodia and all that. No insignias, no nothing, nobody's going to help you, and you're going out there to hide in the bushes and spy on where the North Vietnamese and all that on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, where they're moving supplies by and all that. And you're out there on your own. And you're too far away for any help to come, and no help's coming anyway. And if you get caught, you got no insignias, nothing wrong, and you're on your own. Boom. And most of those guys died. But anyway, this book is written by a survivor of that talks about it and why he wanted to do it, and all the training that went into that. Gracious goodness. They did the special forces and paratroops, because that's what they got into, the paratroops and all the rest of it. And those guys were macho. I mean, they were in top shape, but and it was interesting too. Just finished the first chapter of it. They take them into behind the line. They're not behind the lines, right? They go in there to orientation places in Vietnam, and they meet with folks who are active duty in that, and then they go in this place and they pick out their weapons, and they're not using standard weapons that the military's using. No, they've got different kind of stuff there, and they get to pick out what they want to use, and different kind of knives and Berettas and submachine guns, and they're not. A few are American made, but most of them are not. But they got to pick what they want to live or die with. That's a little bit creepy in itself. And they sign a commitment. They sign a statement that they cannot talk about it for 20 years. And so this man was able to write this book because the 20 years had expired, and he was able to get with some of his buddies and write the book because it was so top secret.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that goes on in the military that we'd have no clue about.
Mm-mm.
The behind the scenes, just like at a funeral, we had no clue about all that goes on behind the scenes to make everything flow like it does, and it looks like it's just effortless. And just like those fellows.
Well, it's like with so many things.
You know,
There's
somebody's,
so much planning that goes into things.
you know, we see the pictures of the Vietnam War, the bombers going over and bombing the Ho Chi Minh Trail. But we don't think about it. How did they know where to drop those bombs? Because you can't even see it. I mean, it's all up under the dense vegetation and everything. The man that gave them their interview, their first prep talk there, was the only survivor of his group. You know, all the rest of them were killed, and he managed to ease out through the lines at night and work his way back 100 and something miles back to the camp. And the man that had worked with them in the United States, I forget his name, had worked with them in the United States at the Special Ops Training School over there. Everybody looked up to him, he had all kind of medals and everything like that. You know, they get over there. The previous week he'd been killed. They all had all their wills and all that done. Couldn't talk to anybody about anything at all. Different way of being. But that behind the scenes stuff made the things that we're aware of possible. And just like the funeral. Just like the funeral. But to think that there are people that, man, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Very special. Very special. But you know, I've been watching this Ken Burns documentary on the American Revolution. That's amazing too. People behind the scenes, what they did, what they sacrificed, and all that to get the country disengaged from England and to set the stage for where we are today. Very special.
I looked up something about the Revolutionary War this morning.
Good. How did you happen to be doing that?
Well, the new license tags for South Carolina say where the revolution was won.
Where it was won?
Yes.
Well, that'd be Cornwallis.
But typically, you know, it's Yorktown. So anyway, I looked up how did that come about to be our license tag?
There was a big billboard on the Interstate 20 for a long time, advertising Camden, South Carolina.
Right.
And it said, come spend a few special hours where Cornwallis spent a long winter or something like that, you know. But yeah, in South Carolina, Francis Marion.
Right. But I wanted to see because I would imagine people wouldn't think South Carolina. I didn't. I'm like, I don't know if that's true. Pivotal, important, yes.
Oh yeah.
One? I don't know.
So what did your research show?
It said that because of the efforts of South Carolina, it pushed Cornwallis north.
Yeah.
And that's where the revolution was won.
Yeah. Yeah, they stopped him. Right there in Camden. And you know, they've got that restored.
Cow pens, 96.
Yeah. Pivotal. And all, like I said, the Swamp Fox, Francis Marion, and all that was all those guerrilla outfits and stuff, that was all in South Carolina. Thomas Sumter. Did I ever tell you about that? That one time, now Thomas Sumter was right there in Stateburg, the General Thomas Sumter, that at one time there was no law in South Carolina, zip, they called it Sumter's Law.
There were no laws?
There was no law enforcement. Everything was so topsy-turvy and all that Thomas Sumter, he had his army. He paid the army himself. And they were the only law in South Carolina. And they called it Sumter's Law. Just throw it out
Just a
there.
little tidbit.
Throw it out there. But those are hard times. Hard times. Yeah. And his tomb is right up there by Stateburg.
And that's where the South Carolina Gamecocks got their name.
That's right. He was called the Gamecock. Feisty little fella. Big fella.
He was tall.
Big fella. Yep. Yeah, that history stuff is fascinating. It just really is. Just really is. And we tend to just pitch that out. Thinking that, if it's old, it's like an old microwave or something. You don't recycle it. You just throw it out. And so much is made today with no.
They're made with.
We wonder want it to last for a year.
Right.
that idea. It's I forget what it was. Something went. Some kind of gadget on my car about the signals. And it's a warning light that comes on right there, Now, the signals work fine. There's a warning light comes on. It needs to be serviced. So your mom took it to the dealership, and they said, yeah, but it'll take a while, and it's going to be X number of dollars, a bunch of dollars. And she said, well, how about the warranty? No, you've had your car 5 years. It ended last month or something like that.
Right, always. Always.
And I'm wondering, they have all this worked out. We're going to build this part. It's going to last 5 years. And then, boom, we're going to stick it to you. Stick it to you. And now you got all the computer stuff and everything like that. There's no cheap fix. We lived on the farm, and you were a little girl and all that. We had Jack Smith down there, and Jack could fix anything. But there was no computer on a car back then. Jeez. There was no computers back then. But he could fix anything. Had his old garage there. And when he was sober, he was a great mechanic. But he died.
When he wasn't, I guess.
When he wasn't,
he didn't get your car back.
And people missed him. And they found him. He was in an old car in his garage, in his shop. And he'd had a heart attack or something and had been dead for several days. It was a different brand of people. Buddy Wilson was another one up there, remember? He could fix anything. Anything. Tractors and cars and trucks and school buses and all of it. Anything that had
wheels and an engine.
Had wheels and an engine. Because they were not, they might have a different name on the car or the truck or whatever it was. But a gasoline engine was a gasoline engine, or a diesel engine was a diesel engine. I think they could do it now. Very smart people. Smart here, but they learned in that school of hard knocks. Mm-hmm. Experience was their teacher, and one wise person would teach another wise person. Yeah.
All right, this weekend, wise person, you are at the chapel. This is an interesting week.
I'm at Grace Time Saturday afternoon first.
Saturday.
Then I'm at the chapel.
And
Cross Point. Yep.
And we're going to be having communion at Cross Point, which is not the norm, but we're going to have it because it connects with your sermon this Sunday. So looking forward to that.
So I'll be historic 528. This past Sunday I was historic 8 and 10. This Sunday I'll be historic 528. 9 and 10:30 over here on Sunday. Mm-hmm.
And everybody will leave with a magnet, a new magnet, which is also connected with your sermon.
Yep.
Each one, reach one.
That none should be lost.
That none should be lost.
Yep. That none should be lost. And I told the people on Sunday, this is a magnet for your refrigerator. It's called a refrigerator magnet because that's the place in the house that most people go most frequently.
True.
It's the refrigerator. So. But it's a magnet, so it'll hook to anything, I'm fixing to have my knee replaced, so I guess I could put it on my knee and walk around, Gee. You know,
You could put it to a lot of potty parts.
you just think about all the different people in the congregation and stuff they've had replaced. If everybody had put one on where they had it came up, man, we'd be a walking advertisement. You'd have people with them all over, just like a pro golfer. They got those stickers all over, not stickers. They got
Logos
logos.
everywhere.
Oh, God. Day.
All right. Don't forget, let's wrap it up before we get too far gone on this. But don't forget the food bank this week. And when you're out and about, grab a couple items and you can bring it to services with you or drop off at the parish office anytime during the week. We will see you at services this weekend. Couple of ministries that are looking for some extra help are ushers at the historic campus and tech everywhere. So the announcements this week, we'll talk to you a little bit more about helping out with tech and actually learning a new skill.
And Charlie will be teaching
you.
all that. Yeah.
Absolutely. We train you, and then you have a new skill, which is a gift to the parish for sure.
A new skill that you can use to bless people in person and online.
Yes. So we look forward to seeing you this weekend. So go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God. See you when I see you. Blessings to you. Know that God loves you and I love you as well.